Riker's jaw tightened, a deep crease forming between his brows. Maeve, I am not doing this with you right now, he snapped. Simon said another 10 minutes and Gemma would be brain dead. They just pumped her stomach. I am not leaving her side. Lorraine dug her acrylics into my shoulder, her voice a venomous hiss. What kind of sister are you? Your sister was literally fighting for her life, and you're whining about a wedding? The commotion stirred Gemma. Her pale fingers weakly curled into the fabric of Riker's sleeve. Where are you guys going? It's fine, just leave me your jacket, Riker. I'll be okay. She blinked up at me, huge tears spilling over her lashes. Please don't be mad at me, Maeve. I don't want to be this needy. I just need a scent to ground me. You guys go. Riker practically dove back onto the mattress, hauling her against his chest. I'm not going anywhere. I've got you. He shot a pointed look over his shoulder at Lorraine. Lorraine shoved me hard toward the hallway. Go get her some Panera. She needs soup. Now. I scrambled, catching Lorraine's wrist. Mom, please. I'm not making this up. Just give me 30 minutes with him. There's a system. If I don't marry Riker before I turn 30, it will erase me. I will cease to exist. Lorraine's face twisted with pure disgust. She swung her designer purse, slamming the heavy buckle into my ribs. You sick, jealous girl. Your sister is in the hospital and you're making up sci-fi delusions for attention? She swung again. It's just a piece of paper. Let him take care of her for one night. You are unbelievably toxic. Bruce stood in the doorway, shaking his head in absolute disappointment. He slammed the heavy oak door right in my face. My knees gave out. The cold linoleum crashed against my shins. Air trapped in my windpipe. A severe tremor ripped through my spine. Above me, the glowing red hourglass bled out another massive chunk of sand. I wasn't lying. I pressed my forehead against the freezing hospital wall. Tomorrow, I become nothing. The hospital corridor was dead quiet when Riker finally stepped out. Maeve, look, I'm sorry. He ran a frustrated hand through his messy hair. I really cannot leave. Her anxiety is off the charts. She refuses her meds unless I'm the one giving them to her. I stared at the man I loved. My vision tunneled. Tomorrow morning, first thing, the courthouse. My voice was hollow, devoid of any pitch. Riker, I am out of time. He blinked, the tension draining from his shoulders. A slow, arrogant smirk tugged at the corner of his mouth. Damn, you're that obsessed with locking me down, huh? I didn't blink. I didn't smile back. Yes, the only reason I exist in this world is to marry you. He leaned in, his lips brushing my cheek, a fleeting, obligatory pressure. Alright, crazy, go home. I'll get her to sleep and meet you at the apartment. We'll be the first ones at the courthouse when the doors open. The warmth in his eyes acted like a momentary anesthetic. The crushing weight on my chest eased slightly. Just sign the papers. Then the nightmare ends. My hand subconsciously drifted to my lower stomach. The fabric of my shirt felt impossibly thin under my fingertips. I had a secret, a surprise waiting for him once we were finally safe. Sunlight stabbed through the blinds. I shot up. The sheets beside me were cold, smooth. Riker never came home. 9 a.m. The spectral hourglass suspended in my vision was brutally half empty. Beat. A long, piercing frequency split my skull. 12 hours remaining. Arlo's voice was devoid of mercy. Accelerate your progress, Maeve. I shoved our marriage license and IDs into my purse. My fingers shook uncontrollably as I typed out a text. Heading to the courthouse now. What's your ETA? I stood on the courthouse steps. The wind ripped right through my thin sweater. No response. I hit call. One ring. Call ended. He declined it. A text bubble finally popped up. Simon is doing morning rounds. Be a good girl and wait outside for a bit. A second later, a photo loaded. It was a selfie. Gemma, looking frail and delicate, was fast asleep. Her face was buried deep into the curve of Riker's neck. My eyes burned as I stared at the photo. Their interlaced fingers dominated the screen. A memory surfaced. 2 years ago, Dr. Simon had issued a clinical directive to ease Gemma's severe anxiety and depression. At least a 10-minute hug every day with Riker. At first, Riker despised it. He would literally set a timer on his phone. The second the 10 minutes ended, he would sprint to the bathroom and scrub his skin raw under scalding water. He used to bury his face in my neck, whining about how he couldn't stand being that close to anyone but me. I didn't notice when the timer stopped. I didn't notice when holding her hand and pulling her into his chest became second nature. By then, he was touching my sister far more than he touched me. My thumb hovered over the keyboard. I typed out a quick text. Get here soon. The courthouse closes at noon. In my periphery, Arlo's digital hourglass bled out another 2 large chunks of sand. 2 hours gone. I stood shivering at the intersection. It was the only route to the courthouse. I would spot him the second he turned the corner. I checked my screen again. Left on read. The sand slipped faster. It was almost noon. Then, a massive matte black G-Wagon idled at the distant red light. License plate, 888. Riker. My heart slammed against my ribs. I practically jumped off the curb, my freezing fingers tightly crushing the ultrasound printout in my pocket. Riker had the classic tragic backstory, orphaned young, forced to build his empire from nothing. He craved family more than anything. Every night, when the lights were out and our bodies were tangled together, he would drag his lips across my lower stomach. Give me a baby, Maeve. His voice would drop into that dark, raspy register. I was going to hand him the sonogram the second we signed the marriage certificate. A genuine smile finally broke across my numb face. I stepped toward the street to wave him down. The G-Wagon's engine roared. He didn't brake. The heavy tires tore through a puddle of icy slush, spraying dirty, freezing water directly across my face and coat. My jaw dropped. My trembling fingers fumbled with my phone, accidentally hitting the video call button. It connected instantly. Riker was on the screen. His knuckles were bone white as he gripped the steering wheel. His jaw was clenched so tight the muscle ticked frantically. What is it, Maeve? He ground out, his voice unnaturally tight. I'm busy. You just drove right past the courthouse, I stammered, swiping freezing slush from my eyelashes. It's almost noon. I've been waiting out here for hours. Riker didn't answer. His heavy brows snapped together. A sudden, guttural groan ripped from the back of his throat. He quickly masked it with a series of muffled, forced coughs. Maeve, I think I'm coming down with something, he wheezed. I need to hit a CVS for a mask. Don't want to get get you sick. He looked terrible. A bead of sweat slid down his flushed temple. His chest heaved with short, ragged breaths. His Adam's apple bobbed sharply as he swallowed hard. My chest immediately tightened with worry. Pull over. Let me take you to the ER first, then we can. A sound cut me off. A high-pitched, breathy whimper. A woman's gasp, echoing clearly inside the cabin of his truck. Look, I gotta go. Riker's voice cracked, dropping an octave. I'm rushing to get Gemma those exclusive pastries from that bakery she likes. Just wait for me. I'll be there soon. Riker, did he completely forget that I had been waiting out here all morning? The phone fumbled. The camera jerked downwards, the lens diving toward his lap. My lungs stopped expanding. In that fractured second of blurry footage, I saw a pair of delicate hands. They were gripping the heavy leather of Riker's belt. On the left ring finger, a diamond sparkled. My wedding band. Call ended. The screen went black. Ice instantly flooded my veins. A phantom hand shoved its way down my throat, twisting my insides into a sickening knot. The street noise vanished into a deafening, high-pitched ring. I refused to breathe. I refused to let the image process in my brain. My thumbs struck the screen, shattering the silence with forceful, erratic taps. The courthouse closes at 5 p.m. I am not leaving this spot. Do not forget what today is, Riker. You promised me. I collapsed onto the concrete curb. My eyes were glued to the phantom hourglass suspended in the air. One chunk of sand dropped at 1 p.m., followed by another agonizing plummet at 3 p.m. Hours bled into the freezing rain until the final grains for the afternoon began to slip away. It was almost 5. The courthouse doors were shutting. My legs were completely numb, heavy blocks of ice. I dragged my freezing body up the marble steps, pressing my shoulder against the heavy glass doors. If Riker pulled up right now, we could still sprint inside. My shaking thumbs hit his contact name again. The subscriber you are calling is currently unavailable. Straight to voicemail. His phone was off. Ding. A notification slashed across my screen. The family group chat. Gemma had uploaded a video. Riker was in our kitchen. His sleeves were rolled up over his thick forearms, expertly tossing a heavy skillet over an open flame. Gemma tagged me. Don't worry, Maeve. Riker got me home safe. Come back and eat. He made garlic butter shrimp. Bruce and Lorraine immediately spammed the chat. Now that is a real man. Knows exactly how to take care of his girl. Careful, honey. You just got out of the hospital. Don't eat anything too greasy. Another video popped up. Riker was pouring a splash of white wine into the pan, his deep, resonant laugh filling the kitchen. Don't worry, Bruce, Lorraine. His voice was warm and entirely stress-free. I made a special, light version just for Gemma's stomach. A physical spike drove right through my temples. I am violently allergic to shrimp. He forgot. He forgot my allergy, and he forgot our wedding day. The sky broke open. Icy rain poured down in sheets, instantly soaking through my thin sweater. Through the blur of freezing rain, the heavy courthouse doors swung shut. The interior lights flicked off. The final couple walked down the steps, huddled laughing under a shared umbrella, waving their marriage certificate. My wet shoe slipped on the slick marble. I slammed onto the concrete, my knees tearing open on the rough stone. A ragged, ugly sob ripped out of my throat. The freezing rain and the stinging cuts on my legs were absolutely nothing compared to the violent shredding inside my chest. I curled into a tight ball, wrapping both arms protectively over my flat stomach. The courthouse is closed, I gasped, choking on rainwater and tears. Arlo, are the baby and I going to die? A sharp, metallic static buzzed in my frontal lobe. Due to courthouse operational constraints, an alternative mission parameter has been unlocked. Arlo's robotic voice echoed. Secure a verbal promise of marriage from Riker before the countdown expires. The hourglass shattered and reformed. 3 chunks of sand remained. Less than 3 hours. I sprinted all the way home. I shoved the front door open, water dripping from my matted hair. The breath vanished from my lungs. Riker's massive frame was on the floor, on his hands and knees. Gemma was sitting straddled across his lower back, giggling uncontrollably. I froze. A hollow, broken laugh spilled from my lips. Years ago, I had tried to jump on his back like that. He had flicked my forehead, his tone firm and serious. A man doesn't bow for anyone, Maeve. I'm not a pony ride. But for her, the rules shattered. Bruce and Lorraine were lounging on the sofa, grinning at the domestic scene. Bruce's smile vanished the second he saw my soaked, shivering frame. Why the hell are you back so late? He snapped. Your dinner is cold. Clean up the kitchen when you're done. Riker's laughter died in his throat. He immediately stood up, catching Gemma by the waist to set her down gently. Maeve, look, I'm sorry about today. Riker. I cut him off. My trembling fingers reached into my soaked pocket and pulled out the crumpled, water-stained ultrasound printout. I'm pregnant. The living room plunged into a dead silence. My eyes locked onto his. Will you marry me? I choked out, my voice raw and desperate. Just say yes. Promise me right now, and I will forgive every single thing you did today. Riker turned to stone. His jaw slacked. His Adam's apple bobbed sharply as he swallowed, but no sound came out. Bruce and Lorraine leaped off the sofa. Lorraine lunged forward, slapping her hands tightly over Gemma's ears. Maeve, have you lost your damn mind? Lorraine screamed, her face flushed with fury. Your sister literally just got discharged. You are trying to trap him into a marriage with a fake pregnancy? Bruce roared, stepping aggressively toward me. Are you actively trying to kill your sister? I'm not lying. I refused to look at them. My eyes stayed ruthlessly pinned to Riker's frozen face. Smoke and ash gave way to a suffocating obsession. Ever since my firefighter boyfriend, Riker, pulled my sister, Gemma, from that inferno, she had been treating him like her personal oxygen tank. Dr. Simon's words still echoed in my ears. She's developed severe attachment issues. She can't go 24 hours without him. Every date night became a table for 3. We even moved her into our shared apartment. 24 hours before I was supposed to walk down the aisle, Gemma spiraled. She swallowed an entire bottle of Ambien. The ICU machines beat, a frantic, mocking rhythm. Riker hurled the empty pill bottle against the hospital wall. Glass shattered across the linoleum. She's a nightmare. How How long is she going to hold us hostage? My parents, Bruce and Lorraine, broke down. We begged him to save her. He did, and the pattern locked in. Attempt number 8 at a wedding. Another perfectly timed panic attack. Another collapse. I gripped Riker's forearm. My nails dug into his skin. The courthouse. Please. Let's just sign the papers first. He wrenched his arm away. The force sent me stumbling back. Are you out of your mind? His jaw ticked. A massive red flag I always ignored. Gemma is practically dying, and you're obsessed with a piece of paper. Selfish. A sharp sting exploded across my cheek. Lorraine stood over me, chest heaving, tears streaming down her face. You know she can't breathe without him. You're rushing this wedding just to kill your own sister. They didn't look back. They sprinted down the hallway, leaving me in the dust. A heavy, metallic sigh echoed in my skull. Time is up, Maeve. Arlo's voice was flat, robotic. You turn 30 tomorrow. 24 hours left to marry the male lead, or you will be completely erased from existence. I pulled out my phone. The screen glowed with the birthday countdown widget Riker had installed for me months ago. A broken laugh ripped from my throat. It tasted like blood and ash. My vision blurred. Hot, pathetic tears tracked down my stinging cheek. The sterile smell of the hospital hit me like a physical blow. Gemma was awake. She was drowning in Riker's oversized CFD training shirt, her head tucked perfectly into the crook of his neck. The door clicked shut behind me. Her gaze locked onto the diamond on my left hand. Then, it dropped to Riker's large hand gripping her waist. Why are you and Riker wearing matching rings? Her voice was whisper thin. Did I ruin your special day again, Maeve? No, never. Lorraine lunged at me. Her fingers dug into my knuckles. She forcefully twisted the wedding band off my finger. The metal scraped my skin raw. This is a special gift. Lorraine stuttered, forcing a wide smile. Your sister and Riker bought it just for you. A matching set. One for you, one for him. Gemma gasped, pressing both hands over her mouth. Really? I love it so much. Riker didn't even flinch. He took her delicate hand and slid my ring onto her finger. Yeah, his voice was incredibly soft, a tone he rarely used on me anymore. Knew you'd love the sparkle. All for you. A sharp, throbbing ache pulsed in my stripped finger. Bruce and Lorraine crowded around the bed, cooing and snapping photos of the happy couple on their phones. I stood in the corner, a ghost in my own life. My fingernails sliced crescent moons into my palms. I waited. I stood completely still until the monitors showed her heart rate steadying, until Riker finally coaxed her to sleep. I stepped closer. My trembling fingers caught the edge of his t-shirt. Riker. The word barely scraped past the lump in my throat. She's out. Please. Let's just go to the courthouse. Right now. His head snapped up. Total disgust twisted his features. His hand immediately covered Gemma's ear, shielding her from my existence. Are you in that much of a rush? He hissed, keeping his voice dangerously low. It took me hours to get her to smile. And you want to leave her here? Acid burned the back of my throat. My lungs simply stopped working. Do you remember? I choked on the air. Do you remember what I told you? That if I don't marry you before I turn 30, I'll literally die? A glowing, blood-red hourglass materialized in my field of vision. Arlo's countdown. 23 hours left. The rhythmic tick-tock vibrated against my skull like a reaper's scythe dragging across concrete. My knees threatened to buckle. I will die, Riker. I'm not making it up. Just drive me to the courthouse. 10 minutes. That's all I'm asking.